was not expecting this today, but it sounds and looks like Yugioh Vrains is about to be ending. Now, before we go any further, I want to make this clear. No one has put out an official statement or a direct announcement that says Yugioh Vrains is finished. Unless they have after the time of this recording, which knowing my luck they will. So just remember, when I'm recording this, nothing has officially been said. So to be fair, playing devil's advocate, it could easily be all the evidence is actually just staff changes and that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is switching time slots. So that is true. That could very well happen. However, from this point forward in the video, we are going to go under the assumption that Yugioh Vrains is ending within the next several weeks. And there are telling signs. Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything did a very good extensive video on the evidence that the show is almost over. I'll link his video below so I don't have to repeat what he said or not spend too much time on any one thing. But putting it in simple terms, you have a couple staff members tweeting that, they're clearing out their offices. You've got one guy who's been working on Yu-Gi-Oh! For a very long time looking for work. That's always a sad sign. You've got the V-jumps, which have been giving us the inkling that we're at the end or towards the end. And also you've had even the episode previews, which I don't normally read. But like the one for, I think it's 116, is like 2 weeks from now, pretty much describes it as it's time for our final battle, our final confrontation. And on the onset, yeah, it sounds like this is the end. And in a lot of ways, I am kind of disappointed. Because, honestly, the past 10, 12 episodes have probably been the best ones. Like, they really were able to, for the big final arc, kind of bring it all together and bring in good writing and better storytelling and better character moments. And I've really liked Ai as a villain. But, at the same time, I do kind of see how this could sort of be it, but that's the thing, I don't want it to be. I'd love to spend the next several months watching Ai be crafty and intelligent and fuckable. Like, I would love to watch more exploration into what this means for Yusaku having to be against his friend, what it means for Soulburner, Revolver, Aoi. I'd love to spend more time with these characters now that it really feels like the show is dedicated to them as people, but that's just kind of it. Also, I was sort of hoping we'd still get that one broken Cybers card that makes Yusaku's version of the deck actually good. But it's not. I don't think it's gonna happen. So yeah, those things suck, but at the same time, this show, it's been no secret it's had a very troubled production from the beginning. You've had people working on it, letting out that, yeah, there's problems. You've had a very all-over-the-place script. You've had very bizarrely executed characterization. You've had very questionable animation. Like, there's been a lot of problems, so I can understand why you would want to just end now so that way you can make everything seem better. We sit here and we're used to our whole lives. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is just sort of always there doing like 48 episodes a year and very rarely giving you a break in between things. Not even taking more than a month off in between new Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. But the thing is that, and I think this is where it kind of comes into, that's not really the way the anime industry is working anymore, and in a lot of ways, really how it never should have been. Like, the thing is, ultimately, the real reason Yu-Gi-Oh! Does so many episodes a year is not because they have this big, sprawling 120 episode epic that just has to be told in 3 years. It's so that way it's just always in your face. It is a marketing strategy. It is to push a product. It is so that way you always have Yu-Gi-Oh! To watch. And with Vrains, that very much came to the detriment. You had characters and story arcs that needed much more time to be thought out. Yusaku, in particular, is actually a very complex character in theory, the way you tackle things like the Lost incident, the way you deal with his own PTSD, the way you deal with his sense of right and wrong, what is he doing, why is he doing all this, these are all very complex motives, but I can't help but feel that because it's all got to be rushed out and can probably only ever get a week or two to be thought out at best. Yeah, there really isn't time to go back and rework the personality. There's no time to rewrite things, to go back and fix things. It's not like Yu-Gi-Oh! Is based off of a manga and you have to follow the manga storyline. Like, all of these are their own stories that are made for television. So therefore, there should be allowed what you need to do for a television story, but you can't, because it's all just based around putting the product out every week, so that way you can sell cards, that way people don't forget about the anime. I've always had this theory that part of the reason shonens do this, that they work their staff to death, that they go this far to get an episode out every week. I think part of it is that there isn't enough confidence that if it goes away for a few weeks, people will go back to it. That's, I think, sort of the problem with Black Clover, your Dragon Ball Supers, all of these shonens that just go on forever have very little quality to them when compared to long-running stuff. And look, I'm not here to bash on the Super fans or the Black Clover fans, but the thing is, when you look at shows like that and compare it to anime such as your My Hero Academia, Food Wars, if we're going more recent, Fire Force, all these shows that are shonen, are longer stories that are meant to go on for a very long time, because they only do 12 or 24 episodes a year, it gives it gives the people who work on them time to really craft something, to spend extra time to make scenes look gorgeous, to spend extra time working on plot points and character ideas and all these sort of things that you need time to work on. Now, I'm a firm believer that art has to come from overcoming challenges. There has to be some level of the artist thinking, well, how do I do this to get to this? But art has its limits. And when you are being put on this time crunch, and we know it is because they've told us, like, that's the thing that I can't get over. When you had staffers and directors tweeting out, oh, sorry, we're doing this, we're making you sit through recap episodes because we can't just take the week off. Like, because they're doing stuff like that, it just makes it feel like there really isn't an attention to quality, and there's just not really an attention to detail. Now, I'm not going to sit here and go back on positive things I've said about Vrains, but as we all know, I've said a lot of negative things, and those things stay true, and a lot of it does seem to come from just wanting to push a product and wanting to be out all the time. And now, don't get me wrong, obviously when Yu-Gi-Oh! Series 7 comes out in, April of 2020, it's still going to be about selling a card game. But if they're willing to cut Vrains short, if they're willing to take that risk that people won't be talking about the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime for, 5 months left in the September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. If they're willing to take that 8-month hiatus and take that risk that they can bring people back, what I'm really hoping is that means that they've got something. They've got an idea. There is something they want to do, a story they want to tell, and a specific look they want to go for, and they feel it is much more worth putting time into that than giving Vrains more episodes. Now, as far as what this Series 7 could be, I don't know. Some people are saying reboot, but of course that's been a theory floating around for a while now, because we're about to be up for an anniversary year. We're up for technically 25 of the current Yu-Gi-Oh! Series, but 25 for the franchise. There's talks that it could be a big crossover, it could be a DM reboot. There's a lot of different theories running around the internet, and I've talked to people today a couple times about what it could potentially be. I honestly don't know, but what I'm hoping is that we're going in the direction of better quality, that there is a real desire to give fans something special. It's not to say Vrains didn't have its great moments, but when you look at how many of those moments weren't good and there were many, many problems, it always seemed to go back to the production trouble, and it always seems to just go to that this production style for anime isn't giving the results it is. If Dragon Ball couldn't even keep going, then, and you have like Black Clover, which, let's be real here, is mostly just the anime community's whipping boy at this point. It seems to say that Yu-Gi-Oh! Might want to restructure and try and do something better, and I'm hoping that's what this is about, and they learned the right lesson from previous misfires. So yeah, tell me what you think of all this below, because it's a lot to take in. I don't think anyone really expected this to happen, but I'm going to remain hopeful that it's for a good cause. As for me and my videos, I've got some ideas in the pipeline, but we'll worry about that when the time comes. We still got several more episodes of Vrains to go, and I'm really interested to see how they're going to wrap this up. I also said that about Game of Thrones, and we all saw where that went. So yeah, tell me about what you think about this below. And as always, click to like, click subscribe, and join me tomorrow, actually, for the next episode of Vrains.